Welcome back to the Larry the Cable Guys. Get her done. Just kidding. This is the Wisco Fanatics Wednesday show. Just messing with Jake because he said get her done right before the show started. Welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Today we have a handful of things to discuss. We're going to start with the Caleb Durbin trade for the Milwaukee Brewers. Then we're going to jump into the Milwaukee Bucks and discuss their last 3 games from the last week. And then we have 2 Badger games to discuss from them being on the road in overtime twice. And we'll recap both of those. And we're going to hit the intro, and we're going to get started with the Brewers. Maybe.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
So, starting with Caleb Durbin trade, again, we have another trade with the Brewers, and this one, on the surface, it looked pretty weird. Like, oh my God, why are the Brewers trading Caleb Durbin? He was their starting third baseman last year. So the Brewers traded Caleb Durbin, Andruw Monasterio, Anthony Siegler, and a 2026 pick to the Boston Red Sox for David Hamilton, who is a utility infielder, and then 2 left-handed pitchers, Kyle Harrison and Shane Drohan. So, I want to talk more about the 3 guys that they got in return before we kind of discuss what this means for the Brewers, because I think there's a lot of possibilities involved. So, Jake, give me your initial thoughts on the guys that they're taking in.
Yeah, so I have so many thoughts after this trade. First of all, seeing all the people complaining when the Brewers make a move, it's just like, have you not learned to just have blind trust with the Milwaukee Brewers? They're at the point now where the Packers got when they were in the Favre era, where it didn't matter what move they were going to make, it was going to be a successful move. They were going to win games. They were going to compete for the division. They were going to be in the playoffs. Like, I don't know. I couldn't do all the complaining. I was like, I got to get off social media, dude. I'm around all these whiny babies. So, obviously, getting a high-end pitcher, a guy who was originally drafted by the Giants, I believe, if I remember correctly. Sorry, my phone volume is on. I'm going to turn that off. A guy who was in the Giants organization, was supposed to be their ace. He was supposed to be their future, supposed to be their Freddie Peralta. Now that Freddie Peralta is getting ranked as a top 10 pitcher in baseball now after being traded from the Brewers. Just have to throw some shade at MLB.com. He has some real high quality stuff. Good slider, good fastball, good curveball, if I remember correctly reading about that. I didn't read too much on him. But he's going to get thrown into the best situation you can get thrown into in baseball outside of the Dodgers, in my opinion. The Dodgers, you get thrown in as a pitcher on the Dodgers, you're living pretty good, let's be honest, right? But getting thrown in on the Brewers, where it's just all about vibes, good times, and then you have 2 of the best pitching coaches in Major League Baseball. They take these guys who are average and subpar in other places, and they turn them into, really, really high-end, high-quality, either relievers or low-end starters. I mean, just look what they did with Quinn Priester. Hello. That guy, I think I know who that is. That guy, no? Oh,
Nope.
Thought so. Well, yeah. Quinn Priester, back to my original thoughts. Quinn Priester was a guy that probably was going to be out of baseball in a few years, being on the Red Sox, being up and down. I'm not for sure. I'm just kind of.
He probably would have just bounced around.
He would have been a guy, a journeyman. But now he may have found a home in Milwaukee, and they really revitalized his career in my
Secret laboratory, yes.
We also have awesome secret laboratory. We do. Then getting a couple of infielders, when you ship a couple out. The only thing I'm actually sad about from that trade, and it's not even Durbin, is losing.
I know where it is.
Dude.
It's Andruw Monasterio. Yep.
When I saw him added in there, I was like, dude, he just makes me feel good on a Thursday because he's just so happy all the time. I'm like, no. Losing Siegler, he had some moments. He had some athletic upside, I thought. But then adding the pick in there was a little weird to me. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, that was weird.
I don't know. I mean, it's a competitive balance pick, so it's like it's not like one of their picks. It's just like it's like a compensatory pick, basically. So it's kind of like in between the first and second round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's one of those weird ones, I think.
Yeah.
I guess the way that I see it, is there anything else you wanted to say on any of the guys?
No, I didn't want to go into too much detail. Just wanted to talk about those couple guys.
Okay. So I did go into the numbers of it, and we made the post right away when the trade happened, and we're like, okay, this feels weird. We need some time to dive into it. Sat with it for a while, got some thoughts, and then we're like, okay, I can see kind of what the vision is here, and that's why I wanted to talk about the possibilities second. So first, I wanted to talk about the three guys coming in. So David Hamilton is coming in. People look him up. They'll be like, oh my God, he batted 198. That's fair. They're going to stop looking, and they're going to start watching. And we have to get past that. So yes, in 2025, he batted 195, 257 on base, and a 333 slug for a 590 OPS, which is bad. That's in 194 plate appearances. In 2024, in 317 plate appearances, he batted 248, 303, 395, 698 slug. That's a barely below average player. In 2025 in AAA, he batted 282, 356, 538 with an 894 OPS. That's fantastic. That was only in 45 plate appearances. So again, looking at the sample sizes, his largest sample size since that 2024 slash that I gave you is actually his 2023 AAA numbers, because unfortunately he's dealt with some injuries. So if you look at his 2023 AAA numbers, he batted 247, had a 363 on base, which is decent, and a 438 slug, which is actually pretty good, giving him an 801 OPS, which is above average. So pretty solid numbers there. He hit 17 home runs in that AAA season. Now, in 2025, Caleb Durbin in 446 plate appearances slash 256, 334, 387 with a 721 OPS with 11 home runs, which is like this much of a smidge above average. I believe last year the average OPS in Major League Baseball was 712. So I'm not saying it's a certainty, but I'm saying if you look at his 2024 AAA numbers where his sample size is the largest, I see a realm where David Hamilton is a slightly better player than Caleb Durbin. I know that that's going to make people a little upset just because Caleb Durbin has done it in Major League Baseball. But if we're looking prospectively, again, optimistic and realistic, if you look at those numbers, I feel there's an opportunity there for him to be better.
I mean, how do we know that that's not Caleb Durbin's best year that he's ever going to have? You know what I'm saying?
And I said this to a couple people too. And yes, Taylor, he's most likely a bridge player. That's absolutely a possibility. I said to some people too, looking at just Caleb Durbin specifically, I said it's very possible that the Brewers don't view him as a long-term option at third base, because he kind of came in as a utility infielder, probably more likely to stick at second base than third base. Connor, welcome back. So that's David Hamilton. Go to Kyle Harrison. Same thing. People see, oh, he had a 4.04 ERA. So glad the Brewers traded for that guy. That's what we need. More guys with a 4.04 ERA. You brought up one of the two examples that I thought of. People see 4.04 ERA. They stop looking. They start whining. As soon as they find a piece of confirmational bias that they can complain about something, they stop doing research. And I said this to you. I'm like, man, doing research on stuff just makes me feel so smart. And it's like, that's the idea of what research is for. It's to help you better understand things. So get past only looking for one piece of information that confirms that you can complain about something. We got to get past that as people. So you'd think with recent examples like Quinn Priester, like Jake brought up, and another one that I would bring up is Nick Mears, who when I called for the Brewers to trade for him, his ERA was over 5. He came to Milwaukee. The Brewers tinkered like they do. And then all of a sudden, he's pitching in high leverage situations. All of a sudden, he's a setup guy or a 7th inning guy. And now the Brewers flipped him for a guy that they wanted. Not that they didn't want Nick Mears, but a guy that they had wanted for years in Angel Zerpa. They went and got a guy that they wanted by flipping a guy that they traded for.
Yeah.
Who had over a 5 ERA in Colorado. Who we looked at it and people were like, oh, it's a hitting ballpark. That's why his ERA high. Milwaukee's a high ERA place too, and the Brewers are still turning out good pitchers.
Sure are.
So you'd think that people would know better than to look at an ERA number and be like, oh, shit, here we go. Why are we trading for this guy? Do you not think that Major League Baseball front offices have access to not only the numbers that we have access to plenty of numbers that we can look past just Baseball Reference and seeing the little highlight bar that tells you their ERA and their strikeouts and then their career numbers. There's more numbers than that. We use tools like Baseball Savant and Fangraphs that tell you way more things than just statistics. And you can go into those and see, oh, he's got 3 pitches out of a 4-pitch mix that have a whiff percentage over 26%, which is crazy. And I'm sure Major League Baseball has even more numbers beyond that and more people to look at things beyond that, like to watch the Hawkeye system and calculate spin rate and stuff like that, which, again, you can find those things on Baseball Savant, but if you have more time to understand them and what they mean and how to manipulate those, that's a whole nother ballgame, and there's people paid to do that. But we can go and look and get at least some advanced metrics and say, oh, this guy has good stuff. It's just not being used properly. Like Quinn Priester and Nick Mears, who both have good stuff that just wasn't being used correctly. And that's what the Brewers are really, really great at figuring out, is looking at guys who have bad numbers but good stuff, saying, we can fix him, and then they do. So, in addition to that, Harrison has a career 22.9% strikeout percentage, which is very high. You're talking he strikes out basically 1 out of every 4 batters he faces. So if he goes through the lineup 3 times, you're basically expecting him to finish with 6 or 7 strikeouts. Evil scientist, for sure.
It's not a bad day. 6 or 7.
I mean, if you're talking through a guy to go 6 innings and give you 7 strikeouts, like why are we complaining about that? Just because he had bad numbers in Boston. I don't give a shit about what he did in Boston. I care what he can do for us.
Dude, Quinn Priester is like a literal direct example who is in Boston.
An insanely recent example.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up.
Back and be like, hey, remember when we signed Gio Gonzalez in 2018, what they did with him?
Yeah.
It's like, this happened literally in the most recent season. The dude became a stud.
Yeah, he was our best pitcher for like a 2-month stretch.
And there was a portion of fans in April that were like, oh my God, what an overpay. And now he's probably going to be probably the second pitcher in our rotation this year.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because they're going to stagger Mizorowski and Woodruff. So, like, one of those 2 will start, then they'll have Quinn Priester in the middle, and then they'll have the other one go on the 3rd day. Just because they're not going to put 2 strikeout guys back-to-back, because that could tax the bullpen. So, again, like, even if you want to go and look at something on Baseball Savant, like similarity comps, in 2025, his spin rate and velocity was compared to Nick Lodolo, who had a 94th percentile off-speed run value and a 3.33 ERA. So what if I just tell you that that's the ceiling for a guy like Kyle Harrison? And all we have to do is figure out how to get him from where he is to where he could be. That's literally what the Brewers pitching lab does.
Yep.
Then we go to Shane Drohan. He doesn't have quite as high of a ceiling as Kyle Harrison, but in 47 and 2/3 innings in 2025, he had a 2.27 ERA and 67 strikeouts. That's insane with a 1.01 whip.
Yep.
That's insane. But no, let's just complain about the 4.04 ERA guy, not the guy who had a 2.27 with 67 strikeouts in less than 48 innings.
Yeah.
And he's not even the prized piece of this. Like Red Sox fans were pissed to be losing Harrison.
Yeah, they were.
So, Drohan, those numbers were in AAA, just so people are aware. He's got a well-regarded fastball slider mix with a good curveball. He came in to 2025 regarded as by scouts as a back end of the rotation starter. but then that was viewed as his ceiling. But at the end of the 2025 season, the belief that he could reach that ceiling was higher. So it's not like he, like rocketed up prospect boards or anything like that. Basically, what I see Drohan as is a guy that the Brewers traded for. They're going to make him look really, really good, and in a year or two, they're going to flip him, is how I view Drohan. That's just, and I'm not saying that they can't use him, but that's a road I could see them going, kind of what they did with Nick Mears.
I can see that.
Taylor asked, do we stay at 5 or go to a 6-man rotation with a massive list of starters that are ready or near ready? I do think they're going to start with 6. To the point of the number of guys that are ready or near ready, I think guys like Logan Henderson, probably Robert Gossler are going to start in AAA. And then guys like Angel Zerpa and Aaron Ashby are going to stay in the bullpen. Even though Matt Arnold will tell you in the offseason, I believe those guys can be starters. I still think they're going to end up in the bullpen. So I think we're going to end up with a 6-man rotation at least twice through, just to make sure that Woodruff and Mizorowski are ready to start shouldering a big innings load.
Yeah.
Just because Mizorowski pitched a career high in innings last year, and obviously we want to protect Brandon Woodruff, the investment that they made into him, to make sure that he's going to be ready to go 5 to 7 innings.
The goal with Woodruff is to get him to October.
Right.
We need to get him to October one of these years. So they'll probably lightly use him throughout the first half of the season, I would imagine.
Yeah. Steve said the Brewers are going to be very interesting this year, this upcoming season, especially the pitching. Absolutely. So that's the last thing we wanted to do with the Durbin trade is I just want to jump into the possibilities. So one possibility existed to me that Joey Ortiz could be the Brewers' option at third base, but Pat Murphy did say today with pitchers and catchers reporting that Murphy said he'll be the shortstop, but they know he can play other spots, which to me said that they're planning on him being the shortstop, but if there's something else that happens, they could move him to third base.
Well, I saw an article from MLB. They were making like bold predictions or something like that. I don't know if it was bold predictions, but they were making predictions, and they were talking about Jesus Mate, and they were saying that he's going to make his debut this year. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Let's just say hypothetically that Joey Ortiz plays third base. The two guys I think that are more likely to make their debuts are Cooper Pratt and Jet Williams.
Yeah, Jet Williams, I think for sure.
Those are the two that I would be looking at. And then if they put Joey Ortiz back at shortstop, then you're looking at David Hamilton, who came over in the Durbin trade, maybe Brock Wilken. Guys like Luke Adams are floating around. And then do not lose in this a very, 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 very highly regarded prospect. Andrew Fisher was the Brewers' first-round pick last year. As a third baseman, I think he was rated the number 1 third base prospect.
Yep.
So he is very highly regarded. I'm going to be watching him extremely closely this summer because I feel like he is going to be on the Churio Made super fast rocket through the minors trajectory. So I'm going to be paying very close attention to what happens with Andrew Fisher. So earlier when Taylor was saying that these guys are going to be bridge guys, I'm kind of getting the sense that looking at 2027, maybe 2028, that they're looking at Andrew Fisher and being like, yeah, this dude's going to be our everyday third baseman for a decade.
Yeah, I can see that. Hopefully Mate can come up and fix that shortstop spot, and we can have the left side of the infield locked down. They can lock down Bryce Terang and then figure out first base from there, man.
Yeah. Steve asked where Jet Williams will play. I kind of just want to see what happens in the spring, honestly, because I feel like he could be 3 out of the 4 infield spots, or maybe they try him in the outfield. So I'm interested to see where they will put Jet Williams. And Taylor jumped ahead right to my last thing that I wanted to talk about, which was in the possibilities of trades. And trades, Taylor asked, do you think we make a move from Paredes from Houston? There's been rumors that the Brewers and the Astros have discussed players, not just Paredes, but also a guy that Jake and I are very high on in Jeremy Pena.
That dude, that would be nasty. That would be so nasty.
had this conversation in my former Brewers group chat that I'm in. Taylor said I have psychic powers. In the former Brewers writers group chat that I'm in, and we talked about, and somebody asked the question of what would you give up for Jeremy Pena? And I said, looking at it, he's got 2 years of team control. I'm like, if you're looking at Jeremy Pena to get you to Jesus Mate and you're looking at 2 years, at that point, to me, Cooper Pratt is tradable. So I said, if you take Cooper Pratt and one of the left-handed pitchers that you just traded for and offer them to Houston for Jeremy Pena.
They do need pitching now that Fromber signed with Detroit, right?
Yeah.
I seen that like last week or whatever,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So all that pitching depth and the fact that they don't have a seemingly concrete plan at third base makes me feel like there is a potential for another trade to happen yet.
Yeah.
So possibilities. Yes, Pratt is more of a shortstop than a third baseman. Pratt would not be playing third base. Joey Ortiz would be if he were to make it up to the majors. So I only see Cooper Pratt as a potential infielder at shortstop. And with with Pat Murphy saying that they know that Joey Ortiz can play third base or second base, yes, I think it's possible that Pratt is up. And to your point, if Taylor said he won't be surprised if we move Joey next year, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets something of a demotion this year.
Yeah.
Because I said if we get to the All-Star break this year and Joey Ortiz is hitting 220, we need to call up Cooper Pratt and see what he's got.
Yeah, Joey, he has to come out of the gates. I'm not going to say on fire, but he has to be hitting the ball and have better plate discipline than he had last
He's
year.
in the exact situation that we asked for Orlando Arcia.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Arcia would at least give us some home runs. So we just need you to bat like 245 and hit 15 homers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Steve asked the thoughts on the Gary Sanchez signing. I'm working really, really, really hard to try to Photoshop Gary Sanchez into a Brewers uniform, so just bear with me on that.
Gary.
It's fine. It gives you a guy who can hit lefties off the bench, which is we're just talking about Joey Ortiz not giving us enough at the plate. Gary can hit lefties. And the other part of this is we were looking at Jefferson Cuero possibly being the backup catcher. I do like the idea of Jefferson Cuero being the starter in AAA and getting tons of at-bats with missing a lot of time due to injuries the last couple seasons. And it's not like the clock is necessarily like ticking super fast on Cuero because he's only 23. So it's not like he's 27 and still in the minors and hasn't made his debut yet. If that were the case, he'd be Rule 5 eligible. But he's 23. Even if he debuts later on this year and comes up for a month in August or is a September call-up, that's totally fine. And then if we're looking at him for next year having a bigger role, depending on what William Contreras wants for money, and I understand that it's not something that people want to hear, but I guarantee you it's a contingency that Matt Arnold is thinking about.
Yes.
As if, what if William Contreras hits 35 home runs this year and bats 285 and he wants $17 million a year for next season in arbitration and then wants to make $30 million a year the following year as a catcher. That's a reality that we might have to face in 2027.
Yeah.
William Contreras trade rumors. It's a possibility. So if Cuero can get 500 at-bats in AAA versus getting 105 at-bats in the bigs this year, at 23, I'm fine with him being in AAA for the year.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned his age only being 23 because people are going to see the Jesus Mates and the Cooper Pratts and name them all. These guys just flying up through the ranks and he's only 19. He's only 20. I mean, I didn't even mention the guy who started all, Jackson Cherio. And they're going to be like, he's doing all this at 20 years old. He's doing all this at 21. They're going to think that everybody's going to be able to do that. No, that's what makes those guys superstar, special, right? Not everybody's going to be able to do that. So Cuero only being 23 years old, he's doing just fine. He's on the right path.
I mean, we talked about trading Isaac Collins, who was a 26-year-old rookie.
Dude, don't even get me started on that. I saw so many dumbass people, but whatever. Just forget it. Like, dog, he's closer to 30 than he is to 20. Like, what are you talking about right now?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Anything else that we want to throw out there Brewers related? I know we haven't started planning
No, we haven't.
A Brewers primer yet. That'll probably be like mid-March.
Yeah.
When we'll look at that. But yeah, anything else Brewers related you want to throw out there?
No. Excited that they reported today because that just means that the warmth and the sunshine is right around the corner, baby.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
I know that's always my thing too. Is I'm like, okay, we're getting close to baseball season. That means it's almost spring.
I don't have to wear pants downstairs. Thank God.
Yeah, right. Like I got my slippers on. I haven't worn a hat the last couple shows, so I got that going for me. I haven't had to add a winter hat down here.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of wearing the slippers too, man. They have
right.
Like, damn, bro, I'm sick of this. I don't want all this on me right now.
I know. I'm sick of being cold all the time.
Man.
All right. So let's switch to basketball, and it is basketball season. So we have 3 Milwaukee Bucks games to discuss. We have a win against the Pelicans, win against the Pacers, and a loss at the Magic. So going back to last Wednesday and the Bucks against the Pelicans, what did you take away from last Wednesday?
I like Taylor's comment first.
Taylor can smell brats and grills on the horizon. I like it.
Yeah. I grilled out on Sunday, man, and that was a fucking struggle. Let me tell you, dude. Holy crap. I was like going outside, like, it was horrible. But yes, I am very excited for grilling season. I cannot wait to have that first bite of brat. Oh, man. Going back to this game, this was a very high scoring game. Got to give a excuse me, give a shout out to Trey Curry Murphy. 12 3-pointers. That's tied for the 5th most in any single game in NBA history. So that was incredible by him. There was moments in that game where I was like, that son of a bitch is going in again, isn't it?
Mind you, that's like the 3rd time he's done that.
Yeah.
And he's like 11 years old. He's
right?
super young, and it's like, damn, that's why the Pelicans didn't want to trade him. Like, damn, they actually know what they have in one of their players at least.
And he's like 6'10" on top of that, dude.
Yeah.
Remarkable what he's able to do.
Yeah, and you were like, yeah, he'd fit in great on the Bucks, and I'm like, bro, he'd fit in great everywhere.
And I was like, yep, that's a good point. That's a real good point.
So, yeah, Trey Murphy's a monster.
Yeah, just wanted to give him a shout out real quick. The Bucks were losing this game at half. They were losing this game going into the 4th quarter. But Ryan Rollins, I thought he was the guy that kind of got things going for the Bucks in the 4th quarter. He got hot going in the 4th quarter. Getting the scoring going. He did a really nice job getting downhill. He didn't shoot super efficiently from outside, 3 of 10 from 3-point range, but 10 of 19 overall, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Really nice game for Ryan Rollins. He was under control in this game. And I think he got sped up a few times, but I thought he was more under control than other games that we're going to talk about.
I feel like his ball handling was under control, but I think he's got to take care of the ball better because he had 2 really bad turnovers in overtime.
His decision making has to get better, but his handle is getting better. I will agree with that.
That's fair.
That's something that we've been harping on him the entire year is his ball handling, and you can start seeing some of that stuff growing. Give a shout out to AJ Green. Not to be overshadowed by Trey Murphy, but he had 6 threes by himself. He only shot 12, but he made 6 of them. That's very efficient from outside.
Give me that. Yeah.
So 20 points for him. Amir Coffey, in his short stint with the Milwaukee Bucks, he actually had a really good game on this day. 7 of 8 from the field, 16 points, 5 rebounds. Did a really nice job on defense, I thought. Kyle Kuzma, he only shot 5 times, had 9 assists. I love that so much. The Bucks had 6 players that scored in double figures. If I'm counting correctly, yes. 6 players that scored in double figures, so they showed a lot of depth. And this is the team coming into the year where I was looking at the roster and I'm looking at Giannis and I'm seeing all this and I'm like, you know what? I see the vision. You have a guy that can get downhill, that could be a superstar, then you just kill people with depth. So I liked all that. But last thing I was going to say is this game should not have went into overtime. Ridiculous that it went in overtime. If they would have called him out of bounds and the Bucks would have challenged it, I'd have been like, okay, call him out of bounds, that's fine. But to call it a good and then take it away, I don't see how that's like inconclusive evidence. Also wanted to give a shout out to the ball movement, 36 assists.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. A game after you played the Bulls and you had 33 assists. So that's a lot of assists for back-to-back games there. But the ball movement was really, really good in this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to highlight just a couple of things that you already mentioned. The assist, the 36 assists came on 56 field goals. Last Sunday, the Bucks made 28 field goals in a game.
Yeah.
This game, they made double that. And yes, I understand it was an overtime game, but looking at just the first half, 18 assists on 26 field goals in the first half alone. And then if you look at just regulation, like you take the overtime aspect out of it, 33 assists on 52 made field goals.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. The offense was great. They shot 60.9% from the field, 44.7% from three, and 80% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
The Bucks came into the fourth quarter down 5, rattled off an 11-0 run, which is awesome. Fellas, welcome back, Simon. And the Bucks got up by as much as 11, and you talked about the end of the game, which was super annoying. It is what it is. The Bucks as a team, you mentioned all the guys in double figures, the good field goal shooting. Andre Jackson Jr., who was 0 for 2 from the field, was the only player who did not shoot over 50%.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Which is wild. Got Kevin Porter Jr. back this game. He played downhill a lot, and between him and Ryan Rollins, they were the guys with the balls in their hands in the clutch time. Kevin Porter Jr. was 7-14 from the field. Didn't make any threes, so he was 7 of 11 on twos, actually. He made all 4 of his free throws. He had 18 points, 9 assists, tied with Kyle Kuzma for the team lead. 6 rebounds, 5 steals. If he can cut one of the 4 turnovers that he had off, I'm fine with 9 assists and 3 turnovers. That's 3-1. Honestly, 9 assists and 4 turnovers really isn't that bad. Anything over 2-1, and I'm not going to be like, you need to cut that down. Like, if you're over 2-1, fine.
Yeah.
The 5 steals that Kevin Porter Jr. had, that is his 3rd time as a Milwaukee Buck having 5 steals.
Oh, wow.
And ironically, twice have been against the Pelicans.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I do agree with you that Ryan Rollins did a good job playing downhill, and his ball handling is getting better. He does need to get those turnovers down, in my opinion, because he had 4 assists and 4 turnovers.
His turnovers are just in the silliest situations too, man. It's like, dude, if you would just not jump while passing the guy.
You said it too. Like, stop leaving your feet to pass.
Dude, he did it like 3 times versus Magic. I was going to talk about that, but like he did it like 3 times, and I'm like, dog, why are you doing
your
that?
Feet. Yes. You mentioned Kuzma only taking 5 shots. He kind of took a back seat, but he did allow others to score. He tied Kevin Porter Jr. for the team lead in assists, and he did one of his 5 shots that he took was a clutch 3 late in the fourth quarter. So staying ready, there's something to be said for that. Pete Nance, we got some standard minutes for him in this game. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 of 7 from 3.
Yeah.
He's got, after the Pelicans game, he's got 6 games where he's played 15-plus minutes. Do you want to take a guess what his three-point shooting is in those 6 games?
Well, I know what it is during the 3-game winning streak, so that's a little bit of a cheat for me, but I know it's north of 50%.
It sure is.
Like
in the 6 games that he's played more than 15 minutes, he's 13 for 24 from the three-point line. That's 54.2%.
Yeah, it's filthy. I wrote down his stats for the 3-game win streak, so I thought he had a really big hand in it.
Yeah. And then Jericho Sims being 4 for 4 from the field, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists.
Dude, Jericho Sims getting solid minutes. He is a productive player, bro.
Him and Pete Nance, they never stop moving.
And they attack the rebound, something that we've been struggling with the entire year. And they won the rebound battle in this game.
When we go to the Magic game, I might have something hot takey to say when we get to it.
Okay.
But like you said, back-to-back, getting 2 back-to-backs or getting 2 wins on a back-to-back, winning both is a very nice place to be.
Yeah.
So then we get to Friday. Bobby Portis and Gary Harris were back. Then Kyle Kuzma was out. Going to AJ Green again, and you and I were talking during this game about just the way that the game was going, as we do. AJ Green hitting and then aggressively hunting threes opens up a lot of things for the Bucks offense because it ends up demanding a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a guy that hits 2 or 3 threes in a row, and then all of a sudden he's in the hyper sonic, like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, screen for me, give me the ball, give me the ball. That takes a lot of attention from the opposing defense.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's like, shit, where's AJ Green? Where's AJ Green? Because he just made 3 in a row on you. So like him shooting so much better, and I have some numbers on him when we get to the Magic game, but that opens up so many things for the Bucks, and it's such an important thing. And people are still questioning why AJ Green is on the team and why he's starting and why he's playing so many minutes. Like because when he's out there, he demands attention.
Yes.
Taylor asked the question, do you think we're hitting our stride a little bit now? I'm not 100% sold that they're hitting their stride yet. I think they're at a point where they're beating teams that they should beat, but without Giannis, they are still a pretty mid team.
If they win tonight, they're gonna lose to the Thunder on Thursday. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's a road game
on the second of a back-to-back.
Yeah, they'll be 1-1 before the All-Star break. They play the Pelicans, Raptors, Heat, Cavs, and Knicks. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd have to win 4. You'd have to win 4 out of the 6 for me to say they're hitting their stride.
Yeah, and see what Giannis's timeline looks like.
If they win 4 out of 6 in that stretch after, say they beat the Magic and they lose to the Thunder and they win 4 out of the 6 to end the month, and Giannis's timetable is ahead of schedule, I'm going to feel real good is all I'm going to say.
Maybe, yeah. I think we'll be looking at making the playoffs at that point.
Yes.
Okay. Kevin Porter Jr. on Friday, again, being very aggressive. He was scoring, in my opinion, while getting consistently hacked. And in the fourth quarter, Bucks built a lead that got cut down because they just stopped calling fouls. Yeah. Drives me insane. And I feel really bad for Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma specifically because they're the two that it happens to the most when they're getting foul calls for playing aggressively. Yeah. Obviously within the scope of basketball, but playing aggressively, and they're getting to the free throw line, they're making the free throws and stuff. And then we get to the fourth quarter and like Monday night against the Magic, Kyle Kuzma literally gets hit in the head under the rim and there's no call. And it's just like, why is the officiating so drastically changing in the middle of a game? So I feel bad for Kevin Porter Jr., who got no calls in the fourth quarter. The Bucks as a team shot 6 free throws. 6. That is ridiculous. And the Indiana Pacers shot 21.
Yeah, go look at the Pelicans game. It's the same story.
Kevin Porter Jr. was 10 of 20 from the field, 0 of 6 from the three-point line again, so it was 10 of 14 on twos. Made lots of floaters, lots of mid-range, lots of layups. Did a really good job scoring inside the paint or inside the three-point line. Mm-hmm. Sims and Nance, I'm basically looking at them as like a tandem of guys, looking at them as basically playing in a 2-in-1 type spot. Those two playing with good energy, and looking at Bobby, he can score, but looking at those three, do not get it twisted. The Bucks do not, like, those three playing well, those three things being true, do not mean that Miles Turner is expendable.
Agreed.
Do not get that twisted.
Yeah,
Miles Turner, in my opinion, is the best screener that the Bucks have, which helps free AJ Green, and it helped free Kevin Porter Jr. a lot in this game for a good amount of buckets, and he is still one of the best rim protectors in the league. So I just want to make sure that does not get twisted when we're talking about the Pacers game. The Bucks won the rebounding battle 58-43. They had 13 offensive rebounds and 17 second chance points, which is fantastic, and only 12 turnovers, which is really good. So what did you take away from the Pacers game?
Yeah, talk about Miles Turner. I thought he played a really good game. 9 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. He was very solid. I mean, 1 for 5 from 3. I thought he had a couple that rimmed out. His first game versus the Pacers as a home opponent. He was a home team for the first time ever versus the Pacers in his career, and he got a win. They're 3-0 versus Indiana this year. First 3-game winning streak of the year for the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's nice to see. Also wrote this down because it's something that we've discussed in the past. The Bucks actually shot 16 more shots than the Indiana Pacers.
Love that.
That's something I was like, holy shit. That like stuck out to me immediately. I'm like, goddamn. Usually it's the other way around.
Well,
And
and
they're
I'll say
shooting
part of
21.
that is opponents not being charged field goals because they're getting fouled.
Well, that's why I said they're usually shooting 15 more jump shots and they're shooting 20 more free throws. So it's like,
Right.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Bucks only turned the ball over 12 times. Love that. That's beautiful.
Yep.
This game was very physical. The refs let some stuff go on both ends, I thought. And I thought it was a very physical game. And the Bucks showed a lot of mental toughness in this one. They showed good depth. I thought Gary Trent, even though he didn't score a lot, I thought he gave good minutes. I thought he played all right defense, actually. Nance, he didn't score a bunch, but he was everywhere at once. Want to give a shout out to Jericho Sims. The guy had 12 rebounds in the first half. In the first half, he had 12 rebounds. Holy crap! It's been a while since the Bucks actually attacked the rebounding. They won rebounding for probably the first time all year. I should look into it, but they won the rebounding.
There's been a couple times, but it hasn't been over 50% of the games. I'll tell you that.
I mean, like back-to-back games is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Back-to-back games where they won the rebounding battle. Love that. 26 assists again. So on 44 made shots. Love that. Also, Jericho ended the game with 15 total rebounds. He had 4 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 or 3 from the field. So fantastic stuff. Kevin Porter Jr., 23 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. He had 8 assists through 3 quarters. He didn't have an assist in the fourth quarter because I thought the offense slowed down a little bit in the fourth quarter. The second and third quarter, the offense was going crazy. They won the second quarter 31-18. They won the third quarter 29-18. They were vibing in those 2 middle quarters. That's really where the game was won, in my opinion. But Kevin, it was 60-36. That's pretty good. Kevin Porter Jr. did come up clutch in the fourth quarter. He made a big-time bucket after Indiana missed the three-pointer that would have tied the game. And then he also showed good ball handling, good poise at the end to make up of free throws that put the game away. So 10 of 20 from the field overall, but if you take away his three-pointers, which he was 0 for 6, he was 10 for 14 on 2. So super efficient from the 2-point line, 2-point range, I should say. Rebounded the ball well, assisted the ball well. Rollins was doing his thing a little bit, but again, I feel the same way every game about Ryan Rollins, where I'll see him jumping past, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude, I cannot defend this. I try so hard, but I cannot. Stop doing that. You are not in junior high anymore, my guy. So outside of that, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the Magic game, and we are going to talk about the deadline and the additions. I just want to do that in the what's next because we really haven't seen much. So let's go into the Bucks and the Magic from Monday night before that. So what did you take away from Monday?
This game started off where the Bucks had a couple turnovers in the early portions of this game where I thought they had a chance to really take control of this game. I felt like they were trying to move the ball like they have been during the 3-game winning streak, but they just had some really, really silly turnovers. And I don't mean to say this, but I'm going to say it. It almost felt like their head wasn't in the game, honestly. When I was watching that, especially in the second quarter, I was like, I forgot who it was. I think it was Rollins actually, like threw a pass and it, like landed at somebody's feet. And I'm just like, bro, you are a professional. And I'm not expecting you to be perfect, but you are a professional basketball player. You really dribble the damn ball every day of your life.
Right.
And you throw the ball at somebody's feet, bro. I'm going to play a game in a few hours here. If I make a pass and it bounces at somebody's feet, I don't do that every day. So it's a little bit more acceptable for me. But I don't know, man. And Rollins, a couple times I thought, was really trying to force the issue. And I thought the Magic did a nice job taking away the Bucks' first option off of actions. And a lot of that was, AJ coming off screens. And AJ still had a super efficient game by his standards, honestly. 4 for 8 from beyond the arc. When you know that's your game and you still shoot 50%, that's how you know a guy is deadly out there, man.
Right.
And he had a couple that rimmed out where I was like, dude, that's halfway down. Just the other half, just go in. Don't be afraid.
Turner had one, too, that was like 2/3 of the way down and bounced on.
Yeah. Turner was all right, but I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk about Cam Thomas because you want to talk about additions. But Bobby Portis played 17 minutes and grabbed 0 rebounds.
You ready for a hot take time?
What the fuck, dude?
I'm gonna hold on to it because I have thoughts on how it relates to the deadline in the offseason. So
No.
Hold on to it. But I have thoughts.
That's all I had. I just wanted to talk about Bobby last. So I was like, dude, what the hell? 0 rebounds, dude?
So that Ryan Rollins thing again, this was one of those games where it felt like he was forcing more than flowing.
Yep.
Which that's when I'm like, okay, we need to rein that in. We need to figure that out. We need to coach that up.
Yeah.
He was 6 of 16 from the field, 4 of 10 on twos, took a lot of highly contested shots.
Mm-hmm.
He made a couple, but that's not a good reason to take bad shots. Like, making some bad shots is not a reason to take bad shots.
Agreed.
Which, when we get to Cam Thomas, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. There was a pass where Rollins and AJ Green were standing like 6 feet away from each other, and Rollins tried to make a really lazy pass that just got tipped in the passing lane. It's like, dude. So, like, yeah, you're just thinking, oh, they're just going to let me do this because he's right there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you got to – and I get that it's a long season. I understand that. People are human. But damn, dude, if you're in the millions of dollar business, like, you got to stay locked in.
I agree.
So – the 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, that's all good. It's all good and well from Rollins. But 6 turnovers.
Yep.
He played out of control, in my opinion, a lot in this game, and you cannot do that against a good defensive team.
Yep.
And in my mind, it's not just that the Magic are so good defensively that nobody could get by them, because Kevin Porter Jr. had every player wearing white and blue on skates.
He sure did.
Kevin Porter Jr. had them on skates. He was cooking several really good defenders regularly.
Yeah.
He was 10 of 19 from the field, only 1 for 5 from the three-point line, so he was 9 of 14 on twos again, and 7 for 7 from the free throw line, which he should be shooting every game. Kevin Porter Jr. should be shooting 5 to 7 free throws every single game.
He gets
with the way that he plays.
Exactly.
So, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, and a steal from Kevin Porter Jr. That's fantastic against a pretty solid defensive team. Yeah. I would say the Magic are a good defensive team. So that's great.
Were they number 1 last year?
What's that?
Were they number 1 last year?
They were number 1 last year, so it wouldn't shock me if they're top 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Just the turnovers in general, 7 in the first quarter. 2 of them were offensive fouls, which some of that I think is kind of ticky-tack. It is what it is. They only had 3 in the second quarter, and then they had 10 in the second half, so they finished with 20 turnovers. Magic got 27 points off turnovers. You need to cut that in half. And the Bucks only had 17 assists to go with that. And 7 of those 17 were Kevin Porter Jr., who only had 3 of the turnovers. So you're talking, if you take Kevin Porter Jr. out of the equation, the Bucks had 10 assists and 17 turnovers.
Damn.
Fucking yikes, dude. We were just talking, and I was just saying that I'd like them to be 2-1. And I get that not everybody's going to be, that efficient, but damn.
I mean, Kuzma only shot the ball 3 times and had 0 assists with 5 turnovers.
He only played 17 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
And there was a couple times where I think he should have gotten some foul calls that ended up as turnovers, which it is what it is, but it still counts against you. And Rollins has that once in a while too, and so does Kevin Porter Jr. But
yeah,
the debuts / rotations thing was odd to me a little bit. To me, it felt like the first game of a back-to-back kind of rotations with Kuzma only playing 17 minutes. So it's like, okay, when we get to Wednesday night, is he going to play 35? Same with Bobby, who played 16/17 minutes. Is he going to play 30 minutes on Wednesday? Because Pete Nance only played 9 minutes, and we found out after the game that he was kind of banged up, but he's playing tonight. Cam Thomas debuted, played 13 minutes. Ousmane Dieng debuted, played 5 minutes. I'll talk about them a little bit more in just a second, but kind of just felt like some weird rotations, and it might just be that way the rest of the season. It is what it is. But the last couple things, AJ Green, you mentioned, just keep doing what you're doing with AJ Green. He was 4 of 8, 50%, made all 3 of his free throws, 15 points. That's great. You just plug and play AJ Green, you'd be like, okay, that's 15 points right there. You might get 12, you might get 18, but you look at him and you say, okay, well, that's 15 points right there on 8 shots. That's efficiency that you're not going to get from 80% of basketball. Last 4 games, AJ Green is 19 of 41 on threes. That's 46.3%. And he's shooting some really contested threes. It's not like when I was just talking about Pete Nance over his 6 games that he's over 54%. He's shooting a lot of those wide open because people are living with your power forward shooting threes. AJ Green is in the game to shoot threes, not for any other reason.
Dude, he shot one off the dribble in this game where he did like a between the legs, like
bonuses, but he is in the game to shoot threes.
He was going crazy for a little bit. I was like, God damn, AJ, I didn't know that was in your bag.
So that, and then Miles Turner defensively, he had 5 blocks, 4 of them in the first half. I think he should have been credited for a steal, but it'll kind of show up as a forced turnover. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. 1 for 5 from the free throw line, though. Got to clean that up. So as we're looking at what's next for the Bucks, they play tonight at Orlando. They play tomorrow at OKC, and then we have the All-Star break. Bobby Portis is in the 3-point competition.
Yep.
So the Bucks traded Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey to the Suns. They rerouted Nick Richards to Chicago, getting Ousmane Dieng out of the deal with cash, which I think they just basically turned around and handed to Cam Thomas, who said he wanted to come to Milwaukee because Milwaukee wanted him here. I'm not in love with the Cam Thomas move just because he's not efficient enough in my eyes. I will say, based on the 13 whole minutes that he's played so far for the Bucks, if he's going to play kind of more shooting guard, and we look at the Magic game, and Gary Trent Jr. did not play in that game, if Cam Thomas is going to come in as a shooting guard and just come in and help keep the ball moving, like if he's catching and the ball is going to either be moved in a pass or probably not, or him dribbling, just so the ball is moving and not that it's passed to him and he's going to stand there and look at everybody for a second and then do something like that, I can be okay with. It looked like he was at least trying on defense. So, I mean, if we get defensive effort out of him, I'm okay with that too. But in my mind, I don't see it as like this is a keep Giannis around move. He's here for the rest of the season. Like, yes, they might be able to convince him to stick around next year, but he's going to be a free agent. So it's not like he's here to stay forever.
Yeah.
And then Ousmane Dieng, he's 22. So, I mean, they got a young prospect, which was one of the things that we were asking for. They got a young guy. Give him minutes. So, to my hot take point, seeing what I was just saying with Pete Nance and Jericho Sims, kind of looking at them as a singular rotational player, because you're just going to, play them both, say, like 22 minutes a game or whatever. And with Bobby Portis playing 17 minutes and having 0 rebounds, I said this to you, I feel like Bobby Portis is kind of just out there looking when he can shoot next.
Yeah.
That's really all it looks like he has interest in doing. I will say as the trade deadline passed, I was looking for Bobby Portis to be traded. But if we get to the summer, I understand keeping him to have his salary to be tradable.
Yeah, I agree.
So the Bucks will have access after the lottery to 3 first-round picks. They'll be able to trade 2026 once they know what pick they have. And then they can trade 2031 and 2032. So they'll have 3 first-round picks to offer.
Yep.
And they can put Kuzma and Bobby together to make a $40 million salary. So I said this on the trade show that's going to come out tonight. The Bucks can do that. They can offer those picks and those players, and they can swing for a big hitting trade target. And I haven't looked super deep into it, but the one that's going to be at the absolute tippy top of my list is going to be Kawhi Leonard. And Trage and I talked about it a little bit, and it's like, damn, if you put Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, and Miles Turner on the same team, good luck scoring anywhere inside the paint. Anywhere inside the 3-point line.
If you give me a point guard, and I'm not saying that Kevin Porter Jr. can't be that guy because he showed the ability to play defense. I mean, he showed it early in the Magic game, locking up Desmond Bane for a few possessions.
Yeah.
You give me a point guard with some defensive ability, and you have those 3 guys, you might have something.
I mean, even Ryan Rollins, who relies more on his length than, like his just defensive prowess, who relies on his length a lot for defense. If you look at, say, Rollins, AJ Green, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, and Miles Turner, that's a pretty damn formidable lineup, I think.
Especially in the Eastern Conference where it's a little bit lighter. I like it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting team to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the kind of thing I think they can do in the summertime. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to say on what's coming up next. Play the shit out of the young guys. That's what I'm looking for.
I like Dieng. He was 11th overall pick in like 21 or 22, I believe. So good young prospect. He has a little bit of game to him, little step back middies, some little footwork in the post. I would like to just throw him and Nance out there and just see what the hell happens. They're both 6'9", so whatever.
Yeah.
And then referring to Cam Thomas, I'm okay with the Cam Thomas move. He can't have the mindset that he has to score like he had in Brooklyn. He has to take better shots, but his shot-making ability is something that is needed on this team. A lot of times when the Bucks go a lot of ISO and it just relies on Kevin Porter Jr., he makes nasty mid-rangers, and I'm just like, oh, that was filthy. But they don't really, outside of Rollins every once in a while, they don't really have another guy that can just go get a shot. So that's where I like Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
He can go get his own shot. He can make it. You don't just average 21 for no reason.
Right. And that's the thing is like it's can he keep out the stretches of where he goes like 1 for 7?
Yeah.
And like, yes, I know he was 1 for 5 in this game, but it's his first game. So like I'm not holding that against him.
Yeah.
Because he can be a microwave scorer. He's a guy who can make like 7 out of 8 shots in a row.
Yeah.
So that's, and I'm not expecting that either. But if they can find some sort of happy middle ground there where there's a little more consistency in his efficiency, that's when I would be very okay with having Cam Thomas on the team. But I need to see that first.
I agree.
Okay. Ready to switch to the Badgers?
Let's get it done.
All right. Here we go. Badgers. Okay. So no Mike this week. Mike actually had his appendix taken out about an hour ago. So good to hear that Mike was good to go after having a little appendix scare.
Yeah,
but we're filling in for him. So we're going to start with Wisconsin at Indiana. And Jake, you're covering Mike for the guards. And then you can just roll into the big men, whichever one you want to do first.
I'll start with big men because I have some things I want to say. So Bielowskis, again, I like his role. I would like him to start making a few more shots and not just taking all of his shots from the three-point line. I understand having that ability to be able to stretch the defense, but maybe get him rolling to the rim every once in a while. Get him a little bit more confidence. That's something that I think they can improve on. I'm feeling pretty good about throwing out things that the Badgers can improve on because last week I talked about how when the offense is stalling, I would like them to throw it down to Nolan Winter more in the post because I think he has the footwork and he has, the basketball IQ to figure it out down there. They did that in this game, and he figured it out. Career high 26 points. He matched that with 12 rebounds as well. 9 of 13 from the field. He did hit 3 3-pointers out of 5 attempts. A couple of his threes were straight butter, and I was like, yeah, that's the Nolan Winter I know. In rhythm, perfect passes. I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. Excuse me. In terms of big men, they were really the only two that played. I know that Carrington kind of goes down there every once in a while, but that's your guy to cover, so I'm not going to step on your toes too much. I'm going to cover Nick Boyd in this game for Mike. So 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 of 19 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3. Easily his most efficient game from behind the arc. He hasn't been super efficient this year. I believe he's under 40%. He might be around like 35%. I'd have to double check myself. But there was some times, and you see the 7 of 19 from the field, and you're like, oh, he wasn't very efficient. He was getting hacked, bro. There was at least, off the top of my head, at least 3 times where he got the center on his back, and he's going up with his left hand, and then they give the center a block. Like, bro, do you realize his entire body is in front of him? His arm is not that long.
Yeah.
Full stretched Nick Boyd, which basketball players have long arms, by the way.
Yep.
And his whole body, and they don't call a foul. It happened multiple times in the second half. And then we get to the situation with Boyd where he got called for a charge.
Even before that, hold on. Just because you're talking about the subject of little guys not getting foul calls against bigs, and then a little guy jumps into Nolan Winter who's standing like this and gets called for a foul, it's like, you didn't call that shit the entire game.
Yeah.
And he's perfectly vertical. And then we get to the charge.
Dude,
on that little fucker who was flopping the entire game. Every time he was in the play. Like, oh my fucking God. I hate the James Harden school of flipping your head back shit. I can't stand it.
Dude, there is a 0% chance that he beat him to the spot and was in legal guarding position. 0% chance.
If you watch the other angle of it, where you're looking at both of them running towards half court, and then you see him running into Boyd at the same time as Boyd is running into him. He runs into Boyd and then just throws himself backwards. Like, how are you looking at that and saying, yup, that's definitely Boyd lowering his shoulder? Going away from the basket.
Seriously. So Boyd got the ball off of a rebound, for anybody who didn't know. And he was trying to dribble the ball out to reset it. And the guy Boyd was kind of curling from the left side of the court back towards the middle, and the guy literally just tried to run to a spot and beat him there, but he ends up running in, and they meet at a midsection, I guess I'll call it, and just flops. And I literally was like, there's no way they just called that, dude.
Definition of a flop.
I wasn't like – I'm still upset at the call that got called on Blackwell, but I'm way more mad about the freaking charge call, dude. And the non-travel call. Well, the guy fell on the ground.
Yeah, that too.
I was like, what is going on here?
He caught the ball, landed on 2 feet, and then did a half of a somersault.
And then, look back, and then all 5 players for the Badgers are going like this. And then that was Blackwell's 4th foul.
Yep.
Which set up the diabolical 5th foul.
Yep.
For the charge call.
The charge, seeing the different angle of the charge call and then the one that ended up being Blackwell's 5th foul, the 5th foul on Blackwell one, when you see the feet tangled up, if that's the only thing that the ref saw, yeah, I can see you calling it a foul, even though I was still super pissed about it.
Yeah.
But when you look at the top half of that play, and Wilkerson has a forearm in Blackwell's body, and then you're like, oh, why is he falling backwards? And then that's why you see his foot is up in the air. That's got to be a no call. I'm not saying it should be a charge on Wilkerson, but that has to be a no call.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no way that you can look at that entire play. If you look at only the waist down, yeah, it's a foul on Blackwell. But that's not the only parts of their bodies involved in the play.
I agree.
But yes, that one wasn't as egregious as the charge or even Winter's last foul in regulation.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to say yet?
No. Go ahead. I really just wanted to point out the refs because that was a shit show at the end of the
night. It was insane to me how Indiana averages 19 fouls per game. And the opponent attempts 22.3 free throws per game against Indiana. And in the first half, Indiana was called for 5 fouls and the Badgers shot 0 free throws. Then all of a sudden, the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game, the refs start calling everything.
Yeah.
That is what I hate about officiating.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're going to be tight or if you're going to be loose. This is going to be the same thing when we get to baseball season. I don't care if you're calling things tight. If you're letting stuff go, just be consistent. That is it. That matters more to me than calling things tight or letting things go, is being consistent. Overtime. Indiana scored 6 points in overtime. 4 of the 6 came at the free throw line. And both fouls were called after what should have been turnovers. Yep. One should have been a travel, and the other one should have been a lost ball that I think the Badgers were going to grab.
Yep.
looking at John Blackwell, he started 1 for 8. He made 6 of his next 7 before missing a game winner. Had the bad foul call to foul out. In the first half, I don't know what he would have had to do to get a damn foul call and get some free throws. But second half, he drove, hit a turnaround mid-range to give the Bucks or the Badgers a 69-68 lead. It was their first lead of the game, actually. Did miss the game winner, like I said, but he finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block, and 3 turnovers. Andruw Monasterio was back from his wrist injury. He started 0 for 4 from the floor before hitting a 3. Hit another 3 to cut the lead to 4 under 5 minutes a game. He had some wide open threes that he missed in this game and in the Illinois game.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, he was 2 for 8 from 3 and 2 for 10 from the field. He did play good defense. He gave up a layup in overtime, but other than that, he was very good defensively. Had 6 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 0 rebounds. Like, I need more production out of a starter than that.
If he's not going to hit threes, he has to help with the rebounding.
And, yeah, at that point, if you're talking about 8 threes a game, like, give those to Carrington. I'm getting very, very, very close to being back to wanting Carrington in the starting lineup instead of Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
Braden Carrington came in as a spark plug, more so on defense. He actually blocked a layup right after coming into the game. He almost had a steal like a minute later. He just couldn't save it from going out of bounds. He played really good vertical defense, as did all of the Badgers until they got called for doing the same thing that they've been doing legally the entire game. He did hit a second chance 3 to cut the lead to 5, played really good defense on Wilkerson. He did struggle on his threes, but a lot of his were more heavily contested, including one that was like a late heave at the end of the game. So that counts against him too. He had 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. Going into the Illinois game, basically another similar situation. They're down by double digits. They come back, ends up tied, going into overtime. I'm going to start with Nick Boyd. He scored 25 points despite only having 6 in the first half. He started 2 for 9 from the field. He scored 10 straight points from the 10:03 mark to the 7:37 mark in the second half. The Badgers had missed 11 straight shots at one point after coming out of the half on an 8-0 run. And Nick Boyd and John Blackwell were like, all right, hop on back. The two of us are carrying.
Yeah.
Boyd had 25 points, 5 assists, 0 turnovers, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals. He made tons of contested shots in the paint, and he's the first Badger since 2004-2005 season to have 20 points or 25 points, 5+ assists, and 0 turnovers against a top 10 team on the road. I get that that's a lengthy list of qualifications, but 25 points, 5 assists versus a top 10 team on the road.
You play enough top 10 teams in the Big Ten, so.
And Greg Gard. Just under Greg Gard, they have 7 wins against top 10 teams on the road.
That's pretty
just
good.
under Greg Gard.
Yeah.
So they're basically averaging 1 a year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is.
Going into the wings, I'm just going to skip Jack Janicki. He played 9 minutes. He had a rebound and an assist.
Yeah.
Moving on. John Blackwell hit his first 3 of the game. He hit his first 2 threes coming out of half. He hit his first 3 in overtime, put the Badgers up by 6. He had a bad turnover after Illinois got the lead down to 3, dribbled the ball off his knee, but it ended up not hurting. He made the front end of a 1-and-1. Thankfully, that missed second free throw didn't hurt. But outside of that, missed the potential game winner in overtime. But he got 2 super clutch buckets during the comeback and assisted both of Austin Rapp's super clutch threes that you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
He had 24 points. He was 5 for 11 on threes. He had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block, and only 1 turnover. That's great stuff. That's the kind of game that's going to get him drafted.
Yeah.
Andruw Monasterio. Really not his most polished game on either end of the floor. And I get that Keaton Wagler was going off, but, wasn't playing his best on-ball defense. He did get 3 steals off of being a good help defender and rotating well, so I'll give him credit for that. But 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals sounds a lot better than it looked, in my opinion. Because, again, just having wide open shots from the corner and just I mean, he had made one, too, in the same corner. And
Yeah.
then the next one is just a clank of a brick. And it was more open than the one before it. And then you see Nick Boyd, who makes a three in the second half, gets a three from the same spot, like a possession or two later, and cashes them both. And it's like, that's what you need. And his were contested. I mean, Rhodey, if you're getting the same shot twice in a row, like, you're wide open. Like, we need you to hit those.
Yeah.
And I get that you're not going to make all of them, but, like, damn, being 2 for 8 the game before and then having some wide open ones, like,
Yep.
Braden Carrington did hit his first 2 threes. He was face guarding Wagler in overtime. He hit 2 super clutch free throws, so he made 2 threes, 2 free throws, had 8 points and 4 rebounds. So very happy with that. And then just the last thing that I was going to leave off on is John Blackwell and Nick Boyd scored or assisted on 22 of the final 25 points of the game, which is awesome. So what did you take away from the bigs last night?
Yeah, so Bielowskis again, excuse me, all 4 of his shots came from behind the arc. And that's when I noticed that's when I had the thought process that I said before, like, maybe we can get him down low every once in a while. Get the guy a layup, you know? That wouldn't hurt, in my opinion. Maybe another layer to his game. You know, show that he can score down low and still stretch the floor. I think that's the next step for the Badgers. Nolan Winter didn't have the most efficient game scoring, obviously, 2 for 8 from the field, but the 11 rebounds, he's been a tremendous rebounder. I think he's 3rd in the Big Ten right now in terms of average. Double check for me real quick.
Got you.
But he rebounded the ball really, really well. The Badgers also scored off turnovers really well. So that was a really big difference in this game. 4 turnovers for the Badgers, 13 turnovers for Illinois. Illinois scored 6 points off turnovers. The Badgers scored 23 points off turnovers. That was a major, major difference in this game. Nick Boyd is just phenomenal at scoring in the fast break or the mini fast break. That's a really big part of his game. Going to Austin Rapp. And I didn't get to watch this game live. I decided to go to the cheap movies last night on a Tuesday with my family. But I checked the chat after the game, and you and Mike are talking, and you said something interesting about that. I don't remember if it was you or Mike that brought it up, but talked about how this might have been his best game as a Badger. And I think it was you that agreed. That said, in a win, yes.
Yep.
So I watched like the version that's on YouTube that was without the ads, without the commercials. That's how I watched the game. I watched it on my break at work. I took a longer break. Sorry, boss. And I gotta say, man, I think I agree. He rebounded the ball. He passed the ball when necessary. He made some big time 3-point shots. This is major growth for Austin Rapp over the last couple of weeks.
Let me throw one other thing in there. I think he set good screens too.
Yeah, he did a very nice job. He is, 31 minutes. I said it, oh God, when was this? Probably December. Is that when Bielowskis kind of took over as a starter? Was in December?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I said I like the role of Rapp coming off the bench because he could be a Bobby Portis type player. Yeah. And he was a Bobby Portis type player last night, making big time shots, setting screens, moving the early Bobby Portis, when Bobby Portis was energized.
Sixth man of the year, Bobby Portis.
Sixth man of the
year,
Bobby
Portis as he is today.
Austin Rapp, I thought looked really good. 18, 5, and 3 is really nice, and spreading the floor like he did is really, really nice. That if Andruw Rhodey or Jack Janicki, if one of them decides to find the shot behind the arc, this Badgers team is dangerous, dude.
Yeah.
But one of them has to be a secondary scorer off the bench, because we've seen Carrington do it. We've seen Rapp do it multiple times now. We obviously know what we're getting from Blackwell and Boyd. Nolan Winter, he can have games where he has 26 and 12. He's going to give you 10 and 10 on an average day. Bielowskis is just growing every game, getting better and better, and he's going to play around his 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes is where
I still think he's our best interior defender also.
That's a very good argument. But 15 to 20 minutes from Bielowskis is kind of where they like to keep him. Rhodey or Janicki, one of those two lefties has to find the stroke from outside. If one of them finds it, This team could be a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 team, in my opinion.
Sure.
They can outscore everybody.
Well, and they've obviously showed they can beat good teams on the road.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, dude, I've seen projections where they're projected as a 9 seed. Bro, if you're a 1 seed and you have to face the Badgers in a round of 32, you are fucking pissed, dude. You are pissed off. You do not want to see the Badgers in the round of 32.
Dude, imagine, too, if it's Arizona, who the Badgers knocked off as a top 5 team last year.
I'm telling you, bro, if you're a 1 seed and the Badgers are the 9 or the 8, you are mad as hell. I'd be mad if I was the 1 seed and I seen Wisconsin. Like, hell no, what? We earned a 1 seed? They're the 9? Oh, hell no.
Nolan Winter is third in the Big Ten in rebounds, by the way.
Okay. On average. What is it, like
8.9.
8.9, okay. Yep.
So the Badgers have 2 games between now and next Wednesday. They play Michigan State on Friday. That game is going to be very telling. It's going to be very interesting to see the Badgers play Michigan State on Friday.
Yeah.
And then they play Tuesday at Ohio State. So if the Badgers can come in with a couple wins between now and next Wednesday, I'm going to be feeling real good about the Badgers potentially getting up into being close to being ranked.
Dude, if they beat Michigan State, if they get another top 10 win and they're not ranked, I'm going to ask some questions.
That's fair. I saw today that they're around 37 in Ken Palm. So
okay. Yeah.
So I don't know that they're going to give them quite a 12 rank jump, but
I mean, would Ohio State count as a quad 1 win?
Rankings normally come out on Mondays, so I don't think Ohio State's going to be factored in yet.
You're right.
But, I mean, if we're talking between last Monday and this Monday, the 2 wins being at Illinois and versus Michigan State.
And then the loss versus Indiana was, you kind of got
that's already factored into where they're at.
Yeah, and then you have wins versus Minnesota, wins versus Ohio State, and you go 4 out of 5.
Michigan. Yep.
Start talking. All right.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, that's what we got. Thanks for tuning in, sticking around. We'll be back again next Wednesday. Also, we're getting very, very close. February 24th, so 2 weeks from yesterday, actually, is going to be our Green Bay Packers free agency and trade targets show. And then after that, we're going to be another few-week break before we start getting into our draft series. So stay tuned for that as well. But next week, we'll be back with more Bucks and more Badgers, and we're going to be getting close to planning our Brewers primer. So stick around. Lots of good stuff coming up, and we'll see you guys next week.
Wisconsin.